Welcome in to Rock Hard Ball, part of the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Let's get rock hard.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another edition of Rock Hard Ball. As always, I'm Karter. That's Weezy. We got Clyde back in here again tonight after serving his little suspension. Actually, wait. Maybe it wasn't a suspension. I think he was here last episode.
Yeah, he was here last episode. Yeah.
All right, whatever. We'll see. He'll be suspended again soon, though. Don't worry. Anyways, thanks for joining us again. Obviously, we didn't go Monday. I've been pretty sick all week, so yeah, he's a little bit of a pussy. Couldn't do it on Monday. But I'm powering through tonight, bring you the episode. We'll get her done. Our streak of Mondays though is continuing to be poor. We're not gonna be able to go again next Monday. Weezy and I both have an event we have to attend, so not gonna be able to be here on Monday.
What's on Monday?
Huh?
What's on Monday?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I guess I assumed you were going, but
I found out about it today. I didn't know if that was like, all right, no
Okay.
Monday.
Either way, no Monday show. So yes, the horrible streak of Monday shows continues. I do know looking ahead, we'll definitely go Monday of Thanksgiving week since we won't be able to go obviously that weekend. Other than that, though, I mean, try and hit Monday as much as possible, but sometimes it doesn't work. So that's that. Make sure to check out the socials scrolling across the bottom there at Rock Hard Ball, at Rock Hard Ball Pod on pretty much every major social platform. Give us a follow so you can stay up to date with everything that we get going on. That being said, though, let's take a look at what we got for today's episode. So here's kind of the show rundown. We have College Football Week 10 recap and Week 11 preview. In between that, kind of, we'll take our first look at the CFP poll. College Football Playoff obviously released their first rankings of the year. So we get a little bit better idea of what the committee's thinking right now than the AP poll. We'll do the NFL Week 9 recap, and then we'll take a look ahead at the full Week 10 slate. We have Rock Hard Takes. Today for Rock Hard Takes, we're going to be doing sports broadcasters. So we're going to do a little bit of our own twist on it. Basically, they had to have been broadcasting while we were alive and like conscious to listen to them. So a little caveat there. Just looking ahead towards that. Kelly's Kinky rankings. I don't remember what is that. Cool fullbacks today for Kelly's Kinky rankings. So very, very big time there. Also, we should mention big time election news. Aaron Rodgers actually has better odds to become the next president of the United States than the Jets have to win the Super Bowl. So
Is that that's a legitimate stat?
Plus 2,000 to be the president in 2028. The Jets are the best odds I could find for them for winning the Super Bowl is like plus 6,600. So that's our political talk of the night. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. So that's probably about the biggest thing that's happened in politics the last weeks or so. So all right, let's get to College Football Week 10 recap. We'll just run through the biggest games of the weekend. Obviously, it's a little bit outdated now, which is why we usually try this Monday. But we'll still talk about the games, hit on them a little bit because obviously they affect the new College Football Playoff rankings. So we'll talk about that. We're just going to go down the list here, hit the big ranking matchups. Georgia got a 2-score win over Florida. Definitely a little more hairy than they were probably expecting, though. They were down 13-6 at the half. We said this at the Nebraska game when we were in the press box. Georgia might have a Carson Beck problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting ridiculous. He's just a turnover machine these last few weeks. Obviously, I saw part of my take mentioned it. Maybe he's got to relax the eye black. He's coming dangerously close to blackface, and I'm not even. Did you see the photos of him?
No.
Got to lower it a little bit.
Okay.
It was pretty bad.
That's all. A little bit. I'll look it up.
Maybe less blackface and less turnovers. Maybe those correspond with each other. I don't know though.
Yeah. So I was actually talking about this with the guy that I worked with earlier today. Oh yeah, that's not great. That's a lot.
I see it too.
I already X'd out of it. Anyways, I was talking about it. I was talking about it with the guy I work with today. I feel like Georgia, like year over year, is actually probably one of those teams where it's weird. Like you'd almost probably rather not have an elite talent at quarterback because I feel like with like a Stetson Bennett, obviously he won a couple titles there. It's like Stetson Bennett wasn't super talented and he knew he wasn't super talented. So he was going to take care of the ball, not going to take any, risky throws.
Yeah. He was
get the ball in the hands.
Was so good. He was perfect for what they do.
Yeah. And so like, if Georgia does continue to have elite rosters year over year, a guy like Carson Beck, where, now he's having some turnover issues, but like, obviously he's still a talented quarterback. He knows he's talented. He's going to try and make big plays and that's going to result in turnovers. He doesn't need to do that though on a team like Georgia, which is I think what he just needs.
No, I 100% agree with you. I mean, look, Florida's a bad team. We've talked about it. Like, if you want to win the national championship, obviously they're number 2 in the country. Like, you cannot be playing close, like that close of games. Like, it was genuinely scary in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit of a scare to get the job done though. Bad beat for me in the bets. I had Georgia 14.5, win by 14. Bullshit, but whatever. We advance. Anyways, other big game this weekend, probably the biggest game of the weekend. Let's just hit it right now. Ohio State and Penn State, 3-4 in Happy Valley. Penn State got off to a hot start. Looked like it was maybe going to be an ugly game. Will Howard throws that pick 6. And Penn State gets up early. And after that, though, I mean, Penn State couldn't really hardly move the ball on offense. Ohio State got things under control a little bit. Will Howard started taking care of the ball, finding his guys, stuff like that. And they ended up winning the game. Final score of 20-13. My biggest takeaway from this game is I think that we were right. I don't think that either of these teams are what we think they are.
No, I don't think they're like here. I mean, Ohio State and Oregon, I guess, are technically still like right there and there. Like that game was a 3-point game.
Yeah.
In Oregon. Again, just none of these teams have impressed me though, especially with the way that people are talking about Ohio State in the offseason. Like they have not looked like that team. Like this team does not look like the team where it's like Michigan's bad this year. They're like only 9-point favorites at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's early, obviously, but again, not as talented. And I mean, we knew Penn State was.
Yeah, like, we knew Penn State was going to be bad.
This is what James Franklin is. You're going to beat every team you're supposed to. You run into a good Ohio State team or a good Michigan team, you can't beat them.
I think that with Ohio State, and like you kind of just mentioned, like all these teams, I think we expected them the top of college football to be better than they are. So I think Ohio State probably is still a top 5 team in the country, or they're at least right there with the group. It's just none of these teams are dominant because I do think that Oregon and probably Georgia are the 2 best teams in the country. But like you just said, Ohio State still played a 3-point game.
Are we going to write off Texas that fast?
I don't think we write them off, but I think that those are my top 2 teams in the country, though.
Yeah,
I think Texas is top 5 also.
Okay, yep.
So I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, it's crazy to say this, but like, is Penn State a top 3 team in the Big Ten? Indiana's just beating the fuck out of everybody in front of them.
I don't know until Indiana plays Ohio State. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's probably the right call. Like
Indiana's
beating the shit out of everybody.
Indiana's best wins are Nebraska and Washington, and Nebraska might suck. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk about that more later. Miami and Duke. Once again, Miami finally found themselves in a position where they're down at the half. Then they end up coming back, winning by over 20. Whenever they need it, Cam Ward shows up big. Sometimes I'm kind of like, I do that at the beginning of the game.
I'm voting them off. Like I think they're going to win the ACC. I don't think this team goes far at all in the playoffs. Like what they're doing is not sustainable to any degree. Like you do this against a good team, you're not going to be able to come back 28 points.
Well, this is like a 7-5 team without Cam Ward, 6-6.
Worse.
You think it's even worse than that?
Yes.
I think an average to slightly above average college quarterback, they still are bowl eligible for sure.
Maybe. I don't know though. They're down in every game, and they're relying on arguably the best quarterback in the country to lead them back every single time. And obviously he's been successful every single time, but I don't know, man. I mean, this team is it's so weird to me.
Yeah, no, it's up and down all over the place, but they're going to go as Cam Ward goes. So at least they have that. And also the ACC looks even more locked up after this week, which again, we'll get to. Tennessee won 28-18 against Kentucky at home. I didn't really pay attention to this game much, so I don't really know exactly what happened, but I mean, it looks like they fell behind after the first quarter. After that, though,
yeah, I mean, it's what Kentucky is. They're not a very good football team who will always, find a week or two against a really good opponent to play good, like we saw against Georgia. And that's pretty much that. I mean, Tennessee's obviously they beat Bama. They're still up there. Maybe we're disrespecting them by not, putting them with like the Penn State. I don't know what to think about Tennessee.
I think they're probably right in that same boat as like Penn State. Like I think they're very good, but like I think they could very easily lose any game to teams that have as good of a roster or better than them.
Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that.
I don't think there's like a huge gap anywhere, but I think that there is a little bit of a separation in terms of, I think that it's Oregon, Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas right now. I think you can definitively say are the top 4 teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Texas A&M. Wow. They lose 44-20 on the road to South Carolina. Didn't score a single point in the second half. Really, really bad loss.
Brutal.
Who was riding pretty high, really coming into this week. They just beat LSU last week, didn't they?
Yeah.
They beat LSU the week before. Coming off their best win of the season, best probably win in the last few years program, depending on how good LSU actually ends up being this year. And then they have a loss like this, which is just brutal.
I mean, you just can't have it. Obviously, this late in the year. I mean, I would say going into this, you would argue they were almost not necessarily a lock, but like very well on the path of getting into the playoff. Yeah. And I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, bad loss, one that might not be survivable. Iowa State's another not quite top 10, but borderline top 10. They're the number 11 in the country that lost this week. They lost 22-23 at home as well to Texas Tech. So obviously they luck out in terms of the fact that they're still in the Big 12, so there's still a very realistic chance that they can make the conference championship game, but a tough blow for a team who seemed like they always could figure out a way to win these kind of games all year long. Looks like it finally kind of caught up to them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were finding ways. They don't, but like you said, it's the Big 12. It's just a big clusterfuck. Like I don't know who's going to win that.
Yeah, everybody just keeps losing games every time. It's like, oh, this team looks like they're separating themselves. Lose.
We get to the point where it's week 8. It's like, well, Colorado's technically. It's like,
yeah,
what are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's basically who'd have thought it's BYU versus the world right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird. We talked about earlier with Miami how the ACC looks like it's even more locked up than ever before. That is because Clemson, who was also ranked 11th this week, for those who don't remember, there was a tie last week in the AP poll. Anyways, they lose to Louisville by 12 at home, 33-21. They kind of got jumped early. They were trailing 17-7 at the half. Louisville never really looked back. Score really looks better than it was. Clemson scored 2 there in the fourth quarter, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter that kind of make the final score look a little bit better. But really Louisville dominated them for really this entire game. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like a dumbass. Maybe you leave a little bit. Not really. Though.
Yeah, no,
we were praising Clemson as we should have.
I thought they were going to win the ACC. I thought that based on how Miami was getting into all those close calls, I thought Clemson was going to beat them in the ACC.
I thought it was reverse a few years ago when Oregon got shit stomped by Georgia like the first week in Atlanta. I think it was the same exact game. And Oregon went on to have a very good year. And I thought it was going to be the same situation. Clemson, like obviously everybody's talking about Miami. Clemson, here we go. And then they dropped this one. Tough one for Dabo.
Yeah. Now that I think for them to get in, I think they have to win the conference. They have to get into the conference championship game and win it. That's going to be tough, though, because I guess let's just mention this game now then, since we're talking about the ACC. SMU, big win over Pitt as well, 40-25. Both those two teams were undefeated in the ACC coming into this one. SMU's only loss in the season still is, I believe, a 2-point loss to BYU, which looks really good.
Yep.
This SMU team looks very legit now, and if they, can win out, then obviously they'll be in the ACC championship game. They don't play Clemson or Miami on their schedule, so looks like a pretty good chance they finish out this year without losing another game until possibly the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say SMU Miami championship game. What's the spread on that?
Depending on how Miami finishes out the year, I think if Miami wins out, it'll probably be Miami like -6.5.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said, and I don't trust Miami in that spot.
No, yeah, it'll be way too close.
I think it's like obviously probably getting ahead of ourselves, but like I think it's a pretty legitimate chance that we see SMU win the ACC this year.
Yeah, no, there's very realistic chance.
It's just fucking like nobody would have thought that obviously in the preseason, but that's why you play the games.
100%. Yeah. Kind of jumping all over the place the conferences here, but back to the Big Ten now. Indiana over Michigan State, 47-10. Don't probably have to spend a ton of time here, but I mean, Rourke, another good game, throws 4 touchdowns. Michigan State scores 10 in the first quarter, get it out to 10-0 lead, and then Indiana just shit stomps them from that point on.
I mean, they're a wagon, unfortunately. I mean,
weird.
It's so uncomfortable seeing. We'll obviously talk about the college football playoff first, releasing, but it's like you should never see Indiana in any of those.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one year that we did, it was like the COVID year, and it was like, this makes sense. Like COVID, like, yeah, it makes sense. Like Indiana just for some reason is like one of the best teams in college football. But this year, yeah, it's weird. I will say the one thing that people have kind of started to point out, and I think I might agree with a little bit, is do we see a little bit of the Michigan State fall off next year with how big of a transfer class they brought in, the new hype of year one with the new coach, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Mel Tucker year one of Michigan State is the kind of a similar fall off to year two. Maybe not quite as drastic, but
I think so.
Come back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, there was a shit ton of transfers. Also, I don't know what his contract is or what is like. we ruling that like he goes 11-1 with
jump
Indiana
right
and
away.
he immediately goes to like a premier school?
Yeah, could happen for sure.
Like, sorry, like no offense to Indiana, no, not a singular like premier coach is going to coach at Indiana.
Yeah,
Like if they're going to go somewhere better where
exactly.
they can get better recruits
For sure. First comment of the night, Jackson Mays said, "End the pod, get on the craft." I apologize, Jackson, but Minecraft will have to wait for a little bit. The boners come first. Moving forward here, Houston K-State played. Houston gets the 5-point win over K-State. Again, we were talking about the Big 12. Every time a team gains momentum, they just lose a really bad game. K-State, they had that, got their asses handed to them by BYU, but since then had been just rolling. And we were like, okay, that was probably just a fluke. BYU's good. K-State had an off day, and that results in a big defeat. And they lose to arguably the worst team in the Big 12 on the road.
No, I mean it's a polarizing year in college football. Like
they also gave up 14 unanswered in the fourth quarter, which is the reason that they lost.
When was the last time you've seen like this many like teams that like, oh, like I'm not gonna write them out, and then like they drop a game like it's not like they're losing to a ranked team. Like no, drop a game to fucking Houston. And I feel like it's been all year with every single conference with every single team. It's just been a weird year.
Yeah, no, it's just no one's in control anywhere. Like even like SEC, it's like maybe those teams aren't losing to like unranked teams a lot, but it's like they all just keep beating the shit out of each other. And so it's like I don't know who the best team in the conference is. Like again, it's probably Georgia, but like even still, they lose to Alabama. Alabama was kicking the shit out of them. Like they scored a bunch of points right at the end.
And Alabama looks awful. Not awful, but not good. You look at Oregon, you're like, oh, it has to be Oregon. It's like, well, they were a half-second slide away from having a loss, right? To Ohio State team, who we say Ohio State doesn't look good.
Also, a group of 5 team in Boise State who is very good, but at home against a group of 5 team who you outmatch in talent at every position except for running back, and you damn near lose that game too. But again, that's our best team in the country.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's all weird to me.
Other games you'd run through: Ole Miss kicked the shit out of Arkansas, 63-31. Thought that game would be a little closer. Didn't. Maybe Ole Miss gets their swagger back. And now I'm sure now that we said that, they'll lose right away. I think they actually play Alabama this week, so that's a big game that we'll talk about. Army gets another win. I thought they'd win by more. Did you bet this?
I did bet it.
Yeah. Army won 20-3 over Air Force. 17-point win was for like 20.5, 21.5.
I got it at 20.5.
20.5. So yeah, maybe not quite as dominant as we were expecting. Upset in the Big Ten, Minnesota beat Illinois on the road, 25-17.
You bet that one.
Yeah, Minnesota has quietly been actually a pretty solid team.
Yeah, no, 100%. Now. Pretty sure they started slow, right?
Yeah, they lost North Carolina at home, 1917 in North Carolina. Hasn't looked good, really. I mean, they're 5-4 on the year. They lost 4 in a row at one point. If you remember, I mean, Mac Brown almost quit.
Yeah,
like mid-season. So yeah, that was a bad loss, really, in a lot of people's eyes to start the season. They got pounded by Iowa, and they lost to Michigan, who hasn't been very good this year, which still a tough game. They're outclassed in terms of talent. But yeah, since then they've beat USC, UCLA, who I guess is maybe a little bit better than we thought. They beat Maryland by 25, and now Illinois on the road. So yeah, they have pretty good year getting put together here so far. Then now they go on the road to Rutgers. They'll have Penn State at home, and on the road to Wisconsin of the year.
But speaking of like the Big Ten, like I feel like this is really one of the first years of like truly just overall like mediocrity of teams that could beat good teams, if that makes sense to you. Like name like the awful teams in the Big Ten. Like there really aren't that many. Like obviously you think of like the Purdue's, UCLA's, which I don't even know if you can say that anymore. But then you look at like, I think Minnesota can beat a really good team. Illinois has proven that they could beat a good team. Washington's not awful. Iowa's not bad. I would still not want to go to Wisconsin to play a football game.
Mm-hmm.
So like all over, like obviously you have the top 3, I think. And then after that, it's like a bunch of teams who like, if you're in the top 3, I don't want to face them, but you have to. You're in your conference.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's pretty much about it for ranked games. I don't think there's any other ones on the docket to really of note. I guess, I mean, Oregon, Michigan. Michigan lost 38-17 at home. Oregon stays undefeated. Michigan drops to 5-4. I mean, we kind of knew that Michigan just doesn't have the team to compete with Oregon this year.
Yeah, but they did. That game pissed me off just because I think the final score isn't really indicative of the game. Obviously, we weren't able to watch. We were at Nebraska. They were not 14, goal to go situation to make it, a 1-score game. and it's 4th and 5, and we dial up a Philly special when, like, obviously our quarterback plays him great. Davis Warren, all credit to him, has been playing really good ball the last 2 weeks. 4th and 5 when you need a touchdown, just go to Davis Warren. Let's not run a Philly special, which I don't know if you saw the clip of Alex Orgy then going full speed into a camera. he hit the ground fast, but no, I actually liked this game from Michigan. I thought they played well.
All right, let's talk about the game that we were at. You just mentioned Nebraska hosting UCLA. By far their worst loss this season, I think. Indiana was bad. I get it. They lost by a lot of points, but even in that game, I felt like they played a lot better than that score said. And Indiana has proven that they are a good team. UCLA, props to them. They came in, they played, well, but I mean, this was definitely more of an indictment on Nebraska, I think, than it was like saying that UCLA is better, much better than we thought. They come out, get jumped early. UCLA goes like an 8-minute drive. They end up holding them to a field goal, but it's like an 8-minute drive that they just march down the field against Nebraska's defense, who is supposed to be a strong point for them. And they get behind early, and then in the second half, it's just I guess the whole game, Nebraska just couldn't move the ball. They couldn't move the ball in offense. I mean, Raiola went 14 for 27, 177 yards, a touchdown and a pick. His stats are massively inflated by a couple of big plays that were really, in all fairness, like poorly thrown balls that had good plays made on them by the receivers downfield. It's just getting to a point where it feels like a lot of times we go into these games and the team that Nebraska is facing has the exact game plan on how to beat Nebraska, and they go into that game with it and they execute it to a T. And Nebraska looks like they don't watch a second of film against the opponents they play.
No,
I don't understand what's going on.
No, it's bad. Don't want to like shit on the kid, but like there's a little bit of Raiola problem.
No, he played bad. That was his worst game.
I don't think he's the same quarterback we saw in the first 2-3 weeks. Like,
no, yeah, he's
regressed. Yeah,
and but again,
I don't know if it's a confidence.
I think that's a coaching thing.
I think it's coaching and confidence.
I think
he looks way more timid than he did first 3 weeks. He was fine sitting in a pocket. He was fine, stepping up. It feels like he's just running around. The second look number one's not there.
Yeah, no,
look number one's not going to be there with bad coaching. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think it's a combination. Him being a true freshman quarterback, like, yeah, the confidence is definitely lacking, but I'm going to blame the lack of confidence more on coaching. I think you have to fire Marcus Satterfield. Right now, it points towards if they haven't done it yet, I don't think they'll do it till the end of the year. At this point, they just brought in Dana. How do you say his Holgerson, right?
I believe so.
The former West Virginia Houston head coach. Yeah, they brought him in. He's going to be an offensive analyst, try and help out with things. But I mean, I think you had a Satterfield play calling duties. It's been battle a year, and this was just I think really finally the
icing on the cake.
Yeah, icing on the cake. Yeah, fully on display. Things are bad. It needs to get fixed in a hurry. Rule's getting a lot of heat, which warranted. But I still like Rule as the head coach for sure. I think he's done a good job of setting a culture there to a point. I think he's a good motivator. I think just by far the worst, I guess, aspect of Rule's entire coaching career at Nebraska thus far has been his coordinator hires, and it comes down to Satterfield. It was just a bad hire. Move on.
I like Rule a lot. I mean, like I don't want to compare it, but like it's almost like a Dan Campbell thing. Like Dan Campbell is not a play caller for any situation, but he's got good coordinators and he does his role. He's the heart and soul of the team, which I think Matt Rule is arguably one of the better heart and souls of the team in college football. Like, he is
big time motivator guy.
Yes, I think Nebraska will obviously get back to where they should be in terms of a program, and I think it's through Rule. So obviously you can complain. You cannot lose a game to UCLA at home. You just simply can't. But again, like you said, you got to blame the coordinators way before you can blame Matt Rule for this.
Yeah. Also, I will just say, like, I guess this part of it's probably more of an indictment on Rule. The team coming out flat-footed the way that they did was really disappointing. I thought. I mean, it's the one comment I saw. Like, I think I saw it on Twitter somewhere. That unfortunately I think rings pretty true. No, we didn't want to admit it, and we kind of treated it as a joke and kind of disrespectful. Looking back on it, I think it might have been true. Nebraska might have treated Colorado as a Super Bowl, and too much.
Yeah,
the entire crowd got up for it. The whole team got up for it. Everybody was amped, kicked the shit out of them. Colorado's turned out to be a pretty good team. Since then, they haven't been the same team.
No, they have not.
So they got to figure it out. Got to get back on their feet. But yeah, very disappointing loss. Most disappointing loss in the Rule era so far. Bulgeability isn't dead though. I'm not going to completely give up on this team by any means. Talent's still there. They get some things figured out. USC has proven that they're not a very good team this year. They could definitely go on the road and win there. Wisconsin at home is going to be a tough game, but again, I wouldn't write it off as unwinnable. Same with Iowa on the road. All those teams have proven to be beatable all season long. Just are we going to get the Nebraska that had now number 2 Ohio State on the ropes a couple weeks ago, or are we going to get the Nebraska that lost to Indiana by 50 and lost to UCLA?
Yeah, I mean,
at home.
4 weeks ago, obviously Nebraska's goal was, probably lose one Ohio State. Obviously, I forgot what the rest of the schedule, but maybe go 9-3 and maybe there's a chance. At this point, it's okay. Get the monkey off the back and make a bowl game.
Yeah,
which exactly. At that point is win one more fucking game.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that this one comes back to is just this was the game that you had to just inferior opponent win the game at home. Yeah. Get the monkey off the back, make the bowl game, and then figure out those other games. Now you have to have those stacked on top of each other with higher tier opponents. It's
also almost like the Ohio State and Indiana games were flipped. They came out and played like they just lost by 50 to an Indiana team. Not like, hey, like we just went toe to toe with the number 2 team in the country. Like we're good. We're a good football team. No, they came out like, hey, yeah, we just got absolutely smoked. Which, again, you play like that at Ohio State. You can't let that derail your season and call it quits.
Yeah, no, bad loss, but you got to move on. Bye week comes at a really good time. Reset, get your heads on right, and try and go win a game against the other team from LA next week. Before we go to break, let's take a look at the new college football playoff polls. The first one really of the year. So 16 through 25. 25 is going to be Army, 24 Missouri, 23 Clemson, 22 Louisville, 21 is Washington State, 20 is Colorado, 19 Kansas State, 18 Pittsburgh, 17 Iowa State, and 16 Ole Miss. Nothing here.
That's last week.
Huh?
That's me. Wait.
No, this is the college football playoff poll.
Oh.
So I guess off the jump, in terms of things that maybe could jump out a little bit, kind of just comparing between like the AP and the college football playoff. Like K-State is 3 spots higher in the playoff than they are in the AP poll. Vanderbilt is ranked in the AP. They're not in the college football playoff poll. Army is 18 in the AP and they're 25 in the college football playoff poll. So obviously they're saying that they have not been valuing Army very much this entire season. Other than that, in terms of this first slide, it's pretty close, I would say. Clemson is 19 in the AP. They're 23 in the college football playoff ranking. But everything else is fairly similar. So do you have any, comments on the?
No, I mean, obviously a lot more drastic than obviously I think a lot of other people would have thought. But outside of that, no, not really. Again, it's early.
Yeah, very early.
What matters is what 12 make it.
Yep, college football playoff. First release is always just fun to look at. Though.
It also though is obviously like funny, like dating back. Cause obviously the college football playoff now has been here for a decade. It is funny how like the AP poll and the coaches poll were obviously just the biggest part of college football. Now it's like once you hit that week, it's like okay, nobody gives a shit.
Yep.
Like AP poll.
I think AP.
We love your thoughts, but we don't need them anymore.
Yeah, I think the AP poll is relevant for like this first week. Literally, that's it. Just to kind of see how has the committee been valuing these teams compared to how the AP has had.
Yeah, you get like.
But that's
little, it. Yeah.
All right, let's go to 6 through 15. This slide actually matters now because the top 12 are going to get in. So 15 is going to be LSU, 14 Texas A&M, 13 SMU, 12 Boise State, 11 Alabama, 10 Notre Dame, 9 BYU, 8 Indiana, 7 Tennessee, 6 Penn State. So right off rip, I think the probably most surprising thing to me is they're flip-flopped in the AP, but they're still in the 14, 15 slots. How are LSU and Texas A&M still both so high?
Yeah, I don't know. That makes
so.
Sense.
You're legitimately telling me that if these two teams like win out, or maybe even afford one more loss, like they still have a chance to maybe sneak into the playoff.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what the criteria is. Are they assuming that maybe they have a chance to win out, and then in that case, like they're both 2-loss teams?
A&M has Texas at home last game of the year, so they're not going to get in. You'd assume.
Yeah.
And then LSU, they have Alabama this week. And then after that, I mean, they have Vanderbilt at home still. Like, they could lose that game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That just does not make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, no, I won't get over those two teams. Don't get why they're there. I guess other ones that stand out, Boise State would just legitimately be in the playoff, even without being the group of 5 auto bidder.
I think that's fair, though.
Yeah, no, I think it is.
Like, I get they play in, obviously, their group of 5 team, but their only loss is to the number 1 team in the country by 3. Like,
yeah, no, you could
like
almost
on paper they are a top 15 team in the country.
Could almost make an argument that they could be higher, really, if you're gonna.
I don't know about that, just because like when it comes to them, we're valuing their loss more than any wins. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is obviously losses are like, yeah, good losses are a thing. But like they're not in the same.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying you can probably make an argument. Like,
yeah.
I don't think people would.
Yeah, you could argue.
I don't think people would lose their mind if they were like at 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And other than that, I think everything else makes sense to a certain point. It's good to see.
It's gonna be crazy when Boise drops just an awful game like week 10.
Yeah,
because that's just how this year's playing out.
That'll be chaos too for the group of 5 because everybody else in the group of 5 is kind of fallen out. I don't even know who's really in line to be that next team. Army, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
And who knows what's gonna happen there. So, other than that, nothing that really probably jumps out at me too much. I was gonna say Indiana. Nice to see that the AP finally bumped them as well to 8-2. So it's good to see that they're finally up there a little bit as an undefeated, power conference team. So, all right, top 5. 5 is gonna be Texas, 4 Miami, 3 Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 1 Oregon. I don't really have any problem with this for the most part. I think the biggest probably takeaway here is that maybe for the first time ever in the college football playoff era, they're valuing the Big Ten more than the SEC, which feels like a really weird year.
Yeah, it does. I mean, again, though, it's like it's fine. You can bet. I don't see the point in it, but sure. Like, I'm also not going to shoot you if you think Ohio State's the second best team in the country.
Yeah. I think what it comes down to is obviously Indiana still at 8, so not super high, but the Big Ten they have 2 undefeated teams. The SEC has 0.
Yeah.
And then if you look at it further, Ohio State's only loss is to one of those undefeated teams, number 1 in Oregon, and then Penn State. Obviously, it's 1 loss comes to Ohio State, who lost to number 1. Ohio State's by de facto number 2. So yeah, we already kind of said it earlier, but again, Miami. It definitely isn't the 4th best team in the country, but it's fair for resume.
Right now, yeah, they're undefeated.
Yeah,
they have one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Like, I'm not going to complain about it.
Mm-hmm. Be very curious to see what ends up happening though. If Miami loses the conference championship game to, I don't know, if maybe SMU loses before the conference championship game. Ends up being those 2 in the conference championship game. SMU beats Miami. And then do we maybe have Boise State gets a bye?
No, I don't think they're going to.
You think there's any scenario where that could happen?
No, I don't think the committee would ever give it to them, no.
What if, I don't know, what if the Big 12 champion is anybody but BYU?
Again,
I could see it.
Maybe. Again, I think you would
9, which it's 12.
I just don't see a world where I just don't see a world where that happens, though.
I can see a very realistic possibility where BYU
a bye for their power conference.
There's no designation about that. It's the 4 highest ranked just conference champions.
Yes, and I guess you're right.
If we look at the rankings right now, if the conference championship weekend was played right now, the second highest ranked Big 12 team is Iowa State.
Can we pull up what Boise State's remaining schedule is?
It's Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, Oregon State. I don't know, how has Oregon State been? They're 4-4. Washington State would have been a lot better there.
I don't think you can punish.
I did forget though that if Washington State continues to play well, that looks good for Boise State. I forgot about that.
I
beat them by 20.
I simply think it's just I don't think you're going to punish BYU for playing in a Power 4 conference.
For playing a conference championship game.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So BYU would probably have to lose in the regular season.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. I just wanted to throw it out there. talk shop there. All right.
No, it's very possible. Like I haven't even thought of that situation.
I only thought of it because it happens way too often in like the College Football 25 video game. There's always like a group of 5 team somehow getting like one of the top 4 seeds. And just based on Boise State actually being like the 12 seed now, I was like, well, maybe there is a world where they could get that bye. But again, it's very unlikely. But I think there is also, it's not impossible.
Basically. Yeah. No, yeah, 100%.
All right. That being said, let's move on to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the biggest matchups for this week in college football. And then we'll get to some NFL talk as well. Of course, we still have Rock Our Takes, Kelly's Kinky rankings coming up at the end of the show, so make sure you stick around for that. Usually, one of the more fun parts of the show when we don't just talk purely ball. So it's usually pretty fun. But we'll go to break for now. And listen to Rock Our Ball for the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs, and we'll be right back.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rock Hard Ball for the Dogs Media Network at College Football Dogs. Make sure you check out the website, collegefootballdogs.com. Lots of great content going up there. Game previews and recaps, breaking news, opinion pieces, stuff like that. Check that out. A lot of good writers over there. Next thing we're going to get into here is college football week 11 preview. We'll try to make this fairly quick, but we'll just hit on the kind of the bigger matchups. I'll run through this the top 25 here. So Ohio State's playing Purdue. Doesn't really warrant a whole lot of time. This would be favored at 38.
Yeah.
It's about all that we got there. Miami's going to go over Georgia Tech. They're favored by 11. Never know. Miami, I'm sure, will be a close game, and then maybe they'll find a way to win it at the end. I would absolutely think they should win this game, but you never know. Maybe Georgia Tech makes it interesting. They have some talent on that team. So Texas is going to host Florida again. Should take care of business here by 22.
I see, though. Obviously, Georgia barely took care of business.
For sure. Also, I guess maybe worth noting, Florida did officially say Billy Napier is going to remain the head coach of the program. So he was like the number one guy in the country that people thought was going to get fired. And they made the statement that he will stay as the coach at Florida. They didn't specifically mention next year, but at least until the end of this year, he will be there. So there's that. One of the biggest games of the weekend is going to be Georgia at Ole Miss. 3 on the road at 16. Georgia will be favored by 2.5. Ole Miss kind of written out by a lot of people after their 3-point loss to Kentucky at home, and then they lost by 3 on the road to LSU. If they win this, they're right back in the playoff talk. Because after that, they have on the road to Florida and then home versus Mississippi State, and I think they win both those games. They win here. That as long as they win out, they should make the playoff, right?
Yeah, probably.
So, very big game at Ole Miss. Who do you like there, Georgia?
I like Georgia. Yeah. I mean,
I expect Georgia to win 2. So again, 2.5 split.
Like it's probably pretty easy to say this, but I do see shootout here. Whenever I see Ole Miss, I think they're going to play their best. Probably shootout there. I think Ole Miss is going to have a tough time, and I think Carson Beck finally figures it out. Less eye black, more touchdowns.
Less eye black, more touchdowns. You want to say Michigan right now?
Sure.
Okay. Indiana at home, number 8 in the country now, taking on Michigan. They're going to be favored by 14.5. Probably reverse spread there to open the season. Probably Michigan by at least 14.5.
Yep.
Now it's going to be Indiana by 14.5. I think they hang around. Think they have a chance to pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say no. I think they looked fine last week. They looked fine the week before. Quarterback plays finally, not becoming a complete and total disaster. Yeah, I mean, it's also the point, though, where it's like some of our best players trying to pack the bags. Will Johnson will probably not play another game in a Wolverine jersey. So I don't know. I like the game a whole lot more if it's at home.
Yeah.
But at Indiana, which not because Indiana is a crazy home field advantage, but
Big
vice
House
versa.
is, yeah.
I think Indiana could have a tough time going to Michigan. I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah. I don't really have strong thoughts on the game. I think Indiana probably does win. Again, Michigan has lots of talent, I think, still on that roster. But like you said, I think a lot of them are just probably about done at this point. Next game is really shocking to me. I was looking at the games earlier. Iowa State, 17 in the country, suffered their first loss this season last week. I gave it was a bad loss, to Houston or to Texas Tech at home. But it was a 1-point loss, and this team still, has really impressed me for most of the year. They're going on the road to a 2-6 Kansas team. They're only favored by 3 points.
Yeah, the spread makes no sense.
I feel like Iowa State should be favored by at least a touchdown here.
Feels like the biggest trap of all time. Yeah, 90% of public money is on Iowa State -3.
So, maybe a trap game. But also, I just now noticed they're playing this at Arrowhead.
Yeah, because Kansas doesn't have a home field this year or something.
Did not.
What was that?
It's somewhat at Arrowhead all year.
I think they have 3 or 4 home games at Arrowhead.
Oh, weird. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I was sleeping on the job. But yeah, I think Iowa State should cover the spread by more than that. So, but you never know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, but you would also think home field advantage then goes Iowa State. It's more Iowa State fans are going to want to travel to go see their team play at Arrowhead rather than Kansas, who's already played there. I don't know though. I'll be taking Iowa State in this one.
Clemson goes on the road to Virginia Tech. They're going to be favored by 6. Clemson, I think, is very lucky this isn't a night game because I think I'd be a lot more worried about it for Clemson. They're favored by 6, but still definitely a chance that Clemson could lose here. But I would think that this is a get back game.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Dab's a good coach.
Like you said, though, my hope in Clemson it's kind of vanished a little bit compared to obviously what I thought about them last week. So, see.
Army's going to go on the road to North Texas. They're only favored by 4, which shows Vegas still has no belief in this Army team. They're thinking shootout here, over under 64.5. So,
Jesus.
Yeah. Whoever thought that a game involving Army would have an over under of 64.5. And Army's favored by 4. I guess I don't really know anything about North Texas, so I guess I'll say I think Army wins, but
I think Army wins. Yeah, I don't know.
Colorado's going to go on the road to Texas Tech. Texas Tech team that just beat Iowa State. They're going to be favored by 4. Again, I mean, Colorado's been better than we thought. So
another high spread, 62.5. I think Colorado, sticks this one out. I'm kind of done disrespecting this team. They're a good football team.
Yep. Oregon's going to host Maryland. They should win that game big. They're favored by 25. Tennessee hosts Mississippi State. Same deal. Favored by 24.5. I think they'll win big. Notre Dame's hosting Florida State. Favored by 26.5. Should have been a big game. It's a night game on NBC coming into the year, but ends up now just being what should be a cakewalk for Notre Dame. Take care of business. As we're getting into the night slate, though, biggest game of the nighttime games, and arguably biggest game of the weekend. Number 11 Alabama on the road to number 15 LSU. Alabama's gonna be favored by 2.5. I like Alabama to cover and more.
I mean, Bama LSU at night. It's gonna probably be an all-time football game if I had to guess. Wait, who's at home again?
LSU.
I like LSU.
You like LSU?
Yep. Give me Death Valley at night against Bama.
I'm standing by my fact that they're not good enough. So,
is Bama good enough?
Well, probably not, but I still think they're better than LSU. I still think they're better than LSU. So that's basically my biggest thing here. Okay, Missouri's going to host Oklahoma. Oklahoma's actually favored by 3 over Missouri, which is weird.
I think Missouri's it makes sense. Bad, wow, Missouri ranked.
Well, yeah, that, but also Oklahoma's really bad too.
They are, but I don't know. It's the ultimate a bad football team bowl.
Yeah,
Missouri's not good.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you there, but still Oklahoma's also. I don't know. That's just a weird game. I'm just not going to touch it probably. Penn State's hosting Washington. They're going to be 14-point favorites at home. This is the whiteout game for some reason. Thank you, Big Noon Kickoff. Big Noon Kickoff be on Peacock,
ruining.
So that's awesome.
Football.
Yeah. I don't have anything to say. I think Penn State will win. Could maybe see Washington covering though.
I don't see it. Whiteout.
It's on Peacock though. No, you're probably right. That's a good point.
Whiteout Peacock version just is not the same.
Yeah. Boise State at home versus Nevada, favored by 24. Pitt has Virginia at home, only favored by 7.5. Which maybe now Vegas is saying Pitt's not a good team and has been, a great benefactor of its schedule after seeing them get stomped by SMU is probably my best guess.
Yeah.
Is what the odds makers are doing there, which is probably a fair, evaluation. BYU and Utah seems to be a game that people are talking about a lot for some reason. I get like it's an interstate game, but I mean BYU is only favored by 3 in this one. Utah, the team who was supposed to win the Big 12, hosting the team that
we're supposed to 4 weeks ago. They were 4-0 and then free fall 4-4 now.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's bad. 4 in a row is not good.
Don't worry though, Cam Rising is going to come in and save the day next year.
Finally, Utah State at Washington State. Washington State's favored by 20.5. Yeah, I don't care. Already talked Nebraska's on bye week. Good time to get right. So that is the college football slate this weekend in terms of the big games. Don't really have anything else to say there. Let's go to NFL. We don't need to take another break yet. Just took one. So let's go to NFL Week 9 recap. Talk about what happened there. So we already talked about Thursday night. Yeah, we talked about Thursday football. Yeah, because it was on last time. Jets beat Texas 21-13. Let's get to Sunday though. So Falcons beat the Cowboys 27-21. Dak Prescott got hurt. He will be missing significant time. So Dallas now 3-5, turning to Cooper Rush for at least a few games. Season's over.
Season's over. Yep.
So Falcons over improved to 6-3. Good for them. They're a little bit of a roll here now. They dropped that one with the Seahawks a couple weeks ago, but they have won 5 of their last 6. So,
yeah, they look like the team that we picked to win the division this off season. They look good. Kirk's balling. Drake London's had the resurgence probably because he actually has a quarterback now. Darnell Mooney is just killing it.
You've loved Darnell Mooney for a long time. It's weird.
I love him.
You've been talking about him since like week 1.
Well, Darnell Mooney has like the longest compilation.
He was on the Bears.
He's the longest compilation of just absolutely dusting corners and just stick the ball overthrown by 15 yards by Fields. Like, I swear to God, I think there's a highlight of that. That's like 2.5 minutes long. So Darnell Mooney, Jake quarterback, has been very good this year.
Bills Dolphins close game, which I think proved the big thing. I think is that the Dolphins are still a competitive team with 2 at quarterback.
Yeah, is it? Do we think
it's too late? It's too late. I think. I mean, they're 2-6 now. This is a game that you had to win to have any chance. As far as the rest of their schedule goes, still got some tough games remaining. They have to go on the road to the Packers, on the road to the Texans. They have the Niners at home. So, I mean, really, if you lose even 2 of those games, you're basically dead in the water. So,
yeah,
and that's assuming that every other team that you should be. I mean, I guess even actually on the road to the Rams this week is going to be a tough game.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think they're probably 2 levels.
You're probably right. Which
so they're going to the Bills. They're 7-2 now. So.
Yeah. I mean, they're looking to go into, I think, for the first time in, like, I think they said like 60 years, which is kind of crazy to think that these past few years,
they've never started. They have gone off to some slow starts for sure. Bengals kicked the shit out of the Raiders, 41-24. They needed it. Burrow had a 5-touchdown day. They get to 4-5. I mean, we've basically said every single week is a must-win week for the Bengals. They're in a dogfight with the Ravens right now, but keeping their head above water for now. So,
Vegas sucks. They absolutely suck. Fuck you guys for keeping on a Crosby. He would have looked real good as a Lion. And also, like, you're not a quarterback away either. Like, I don't.
No, you're like whole roster away.
Yeah, you got a tight end who's a good.
Yeah, you got a tight end. You got an edge rusher. That's about it.
That's about all you have.
Yep. So, yeah, it's not good. Chargers beat the Browns 27-10. Talk about us calling this one like on the dot. We were like, Jameis, fun when he coming in. The rapist is gone. And I know for a fact we both said we were like, yeah, he'll probably still throw for a lot of yards, but he's gonna throw like 3 picks next week, and they're gonna probably lose. What do you know? James throws for 235, a touchdown, 3 picks. Browns lose at home. So
yeah, I mean, it wasn't even close, really. It's 27-3 until they cut it to obviously 17. Chargers look good.
Yeah,
like Harbaugh has these guys playing. I think they're gonna make the playoffs.
I think they will too.
And also shout out Harbaugh, just that whole staff. Like, this was an awful defense last year. Pretty sure in almost every metric, they're the best defense in the country.
the Chargers have also proved that they can do it in multiple ways too. I mean, early on in the year they were just pounding the rock over and over again. Now the last few weeks, Herbert has like thrown the ball, I think, the most of like anybody in the NFL.
Which
so
with this, I'm gonna tie into all the Michigan like cheating, like they would not won. Fuck you guys. Harbaugh obviously takes Minter as the coordinator, and now they're the best defense in the NFL. It's like, no, that Michigan team was really good. They probably the best defensive coordinator in the country and arguably the best head coach. So fuck you guys.
all right. Titans beat the Patriots 20-17 in the toilet bowl. Went to overtime.
Really fun last play from
Yeah, Drake May. That last play was incredible. Somehow finding who was in the end zone? Stevenson?
Yep.
Yeah.
Andre, what a touchdown for fantasy owners.
Yeah, for sure. He had 10 carries for 16 yards on the day.
Put up 22 for me though.
He had 4 catches before that for I don't know, probably 30-ish yards. But yeah, he big time came through for the fantasy owners there. But Patriots, I think, again, happy with this game. Probably played solid.
Lost.
Made a fun play at the end, and they lost. Yeah, so good day at the office for the Patriots. I think
it's literally like their entire that should be the dream every single week for them. Oh, Drake May looks awesome when we lose.
Yeah, he did throw 2 picks, but like
he still looks awesome.
Yeah, looked awesome. Commanders 127-22 over the Giants. I mean, expected. I guess I don't really know what else to say here. I mean,
it's just weird to see the Commanders being 7-2.
Yeah, they're good. They're legitimately good. Jay Daniels is I think he's really, if he awarded the MVP today, I think he comes in second.
I think it's top 4. I don't know what it scrambles out to be because who's like the guaranteed probably 1 right now? Lamar.
I think Daniels gets second.
I think there's voter fatigue there. I don't think they give him a third MVP without.
Okay, well, I'm saying as a true.
Okay, so Lamar's 1, Josh 2.
I think I'd maybe put Jay Daniels 2.
I'd put Josh 2, and I wouldn't put Daniels 3. Like as much as people think it's bullshit. I mean, Jared Goff's breaking records.
No, I think Goff.
I think he's 3, and I think
there's an unquestioned top 4, and it's those 4.
Yeah, like obviously Jared Goff's not as flashy as those other 3 by any means, but like the fact that they have 4 touchdowns and he has incompletions the last 5 weeks is unprecedented.
Yeah, no, he's been very good.
So I would give Goff still the slight edge over Daniels.
Okay. Panthers beat the Saints 23-22. Don't care.
Shout out Bryce Young though. Way to win another game.
Yeah, good job. Hope you're having
Saints
fun.
Derek Carr comes back and you guys drop. I mean, my God. Remember those first 2 weeks, man?
Yeah.
God, what a time to be alive.
That was awesome. Yeah. Greatest show on turf. Those 2 teams might be like 2 of the teams that I care like the least amount about in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's probably like those 2 and the Titans. Like, because like again, like at least the Patriots have Drake May, like are fun, but like those teams just.
By the way, they're fun, but they're not fun. Like it's a punishment if you have to sit down and watch a Patriots game.
At least like Drake May though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Drake May is good. Yeah.
All right, Ravens Broncos. Broncos were kind of getting things going a little bit there. Bo Nix looks good at times, and then they got shit stomped, 41-10.
Yeah, I think that's kind of who the Broncos are. Like they're 5-4. They're better than most of us would have suspected, but also could have.
I don't even know if we could say that. I feel like we were fairly.
Yeah, Bo Nix has looked decent, and like we knew that the defense was going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're not like a legitimate threat by any means.
No, I could maybe see them sneaking into the playoffs. They probably won't, just based on the fact that they play in a division with the Chiefs and the Chargers. But like, I wouldn't be shocked if they like somehow got in as a 7 seed and then they just got their shit rocked by like Baltimore, Kansas City in round 1.
Yeah, I would not be shocked by that either.
So, all right, what was that here? Eagles beat the Jaguars 20-23 at home. Saquon invented the reverse hurdle. That was fucking awesome.
That was probably the best play ever.
Yeah, that was so sick. He hits the spin move and then just immediately just jumps in the air and a guy goes flying underneath him.
You see the tweet that was like he hit him with the take a sniff hurdle.
I did not see that. That's good though. Eagles though back on track a little bit here. 6-2 now. They've now won 4 games in a row. Jalen Hurts I think has like 1 turnover in those 4 games, which was a problem early on.
Still, that game became way too close if I'm an Eagles fan. True. Which like I've seen tweets too. It's like they're 6-2, and I don't think there's been a positive thing said about the Eagles.
I mean, I just said one.
Well, you did, but I'm saying by like media and Eagles fans. Like, media. Well, fuck yeah, you're right. We are media, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if like, it's just wild to me.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, if Saquon just keeps being awesome, I mean, that helps a lot. I mean, he's probably second for offensive player of the year right now in terms of non-quarterbacks. Probably Derrick Henry than him. And if Jalen Hurts cannot turn the ball over, I think they'll be in a decent spot. Cardinals Bears. Cardinals win 29-9. Bad showing for the Bears this week. Also, Kyler Murray is playing the best football of his career.
Yeah, that whole offense has been playing great, except Marv. He isn't really doing shit, but
well, he'll randomly drop like 25 in fantasy when I bench him, and then he'll
average 8 the rest. Yeah. Cardinals are winning games, and Bears probably time to hear Clyde. Probably mic time for Clyde over there. Do you think that Hail Mary was just the nail in the coffin on the season? Because the boys came out like they just didn't want to be there.
I think it set us back like 4 years.
That game,
that Hail Mary, that Hail
4
Mary
years?
sent us into 4 years of hell. Yeah.
Why 4 years?
Cycle. So Caleb's gonna get dropped after a couple of years, and then we're gonna pick up a new one, and then his second year we'll be back. I think we'll be fine. I think this year we'll maybe get 8 wins.
Maybe
9. 8.
Maybe if you're a Bears win, like you can maybe, depending on how the offseason goes. Because I think at this point, maybe Bears fans are going to still say, like, we hope to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Probably an unrealistic goal with the division.
Yeah.
Because obviously you guys are still 4-4 now. They have not played a single division team, though.
Thought we're 5-4, I think.
If, though, let's say you complete the Hail Mary, you win that game, you guys are 6-2?
Life is good.
Life's good. Maybe you scratch a few out against the Vikings. Maybe make the playoffs. Eberflus is our guy. Eberflus is not your guy. So if this is like a crystal lining of realizing that he's – it happened last year where you guys weren't good. You started winning some games and playing good with Fields. Yeah. Everybody wanted to keep Fields, keep Eberflus. You got rid of Fields, which I think was the right call.
I still don't know.
Eberflus, which I don't think was the right call. Like, if this makes you guys dump him, though, and then just give Ben Johnson an absolute bag, it's a win. It's an absolute win. I'd hate it, like, as a Lions. Like, I get it, Ben Johnson, you're probably not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
Just don't go to an opponent. It's kind of scummy of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Fan, that's like your wet dream right now, no? Regardless if you win a game or not.
I want them to have fun. I feel like at the end of the year, if they make playoffs or not, cool. But no matter what, we're getting a tackle in the first round next year.
I don't think it's fun. I think it's have Caleb Williams look more comfortable because he just
he's been
he looks like he's just beaten and down.
I fucking hate his completion percentage right now. It's really frustrating when it's like 10 for 33 every single.
A lot
game.
of the play calling though too.
Yeah,
there was clips where like you can't just run four receivers on drags. Yards deep. It's not going to work. There has to be levels to it.
He has to learn how to hit guys, and he hasn't really done that yet. But he's still a baby, he'll grow next year. Hopefully he's great. If not, then I'm a little concerned, but he's fine. He's fine for now.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Bears too. I think this season's kind of wraps for them. I think you probably make an argument they'd be lucky to win 2 games out of the division at this point. The biggest thing now is just Caleb Williams needs to kind of settle in and hopefully play some good football to end the year for them. Rams with the Seahawks.
And by the way,
there's no fucking safety.
Did they just immediately score again?
Yeah, this was my last leg of my parlay for $350. Was under 52, and it is blown on 3 of just the. I hope these 2 teams don't do shit. That's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen.
There's no safety.
No, there was. They let the best
receiver first play the drive.
Yep, he just played in.
Oh, all right. Well, we got a
little bit
of shootout then brewing on Thursday Night Football. 28-27 now. Ravens leading the Bengals. Pending an extra point, though, from the Bengals, so should have a tie game here with 5:30 to go in the game. All right, back to last week. Rams beat the Seahawks 26-20 in overtime. That was, I don't know, an exciting game. It was kind of fun to watch there at the end as we were kind of waiting for the night football to start. Demarcus Robinson made that one-handed catch to win the game. Smith and Jigba had a hell of a game for the Seahawks. He had 7 catches for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the touchdown to force overtime. So, big game from him. But Rams maybe make some noise now with the full cast back.
Yeah, I mean, I
NFC
think
West is completely up in the air.
Yeah, I think fully healthy Rams are for sure in contention to win it. Obviously, not really full. I mean, Puka ejected pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, if they stay healthy, I think it's anybody's fight. Obviously, it's a little different now with Christian McCaffrey coming back this week, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the Niners are going to perform here going forward. Vikings beat the Colts 21-13. I don't really have anything. It was kind of a boring game for Sunday Night Football. I thought it was pretty lame for the most part. Biggest takeaway this week for the Colts, I think, is Seth, the guy that does the Colts Sons.
Yeah,
got Super Bowl tickets. He was named their fan of the year, so that was cool.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We love you.
Yeah. No, he
Happy for him.
he got his Super Bowl tickets. So at least good news for him. You won't have to watch Anthony Richardson in the Super Bowl. So that's a plus. Monday Night Football, Chiefs beat the Buccaneers 30-24 in overtime. So got a few overtime games this week. Mahomes probably played his best game of the year. He was 34-44, just under 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks for the first time this year in a game for Mahomes. Kareem Hunt continues to play well for the Chiefs in his fill-in role for Pacheco. He had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Baker did what he could. 23-for-31, pretty efficient, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. They didn't really run the ball, though, much. The Buccaneers, that is. And obviously, I think at the end of the day, it just kind of comes down to they didn't really have the playmakers to keep up. As soon as the Chiefs got the ball in overtime, that clip was viral of him. They knew it was over. So Chiefs just keep winning. And it's kind of could be dangerous now that Mahomes played good. Because if he continues to play like this, I don't know if they'll ever lose again this year.
Yeah, I mean, they can't lose.
Yeah. Steelers and Niners were on bye, so that's the two teams that did not play that week 9. Let's go to week 10 now. We mentioned we got Thursday Night Football going on right now. Can Taylor Britt just pick him off?
Yeah.
Okay. So this game has been just a whirlwind like the last.
I mean, it's just I can't believe I bet the under and thought I was safe at halftime, and now this is just ridiculous. What's going on here? Oh, he dropped it. He dropped it.
Okay. Well, yeah, 28-28, 5:26 to go. Looks like this is not going to be a pick, so Ravens will keep the ball. Anyways, let's move forward though to the rest of the slate. We got Germany game.
Do we not talk about the massive game between our teams?
Oh shit, yeah, my bad. Yeah, let's go back. The Rock Hard Ball Bowl. Lions Packers. Lions I'm getting the win 24-14. Kind of jumped on them early. Up 17-3 at the half. Packers couldn't quite get back in it. I will say, like, from a Packers fan standpoint, it's kind of weird. Like, on one hand, it's like a reason to be more disappointed, and on the other hand, it's a reason to be less disappointed. The Packers just beat themselves in this game. They had every opportunity to be in this game and even win it, I would say, at a lot of different points. Jordan Love, I think at one point I would have rather than just see him take him out of the game. He was clearly immobilized to a point. We're lucky, I think, that he didn't get re-injured in a sloppy game. You know, it's raining. Probably would have just thrown Malik in there, just kind of ride it out. But, I mean, the Packers' 2 division games this year, they've just done everything that they can to shoot themselves in the foot and really should have had a very good chance to win both of them, but lost both because they beat themselves. So, again, very correctable mistakes on the bright side, but on the bad side, it's like also just don't want to see that. But Packers fans are like freaking out to a point. It's like some areas of Packer Twitter are. It's like nobody seems to remember that at this point, like last season, like we were like sub 500 and like got it rolling and whatever, made the playoffs, won that game, and was maybe 2 or 3 plays away from going to the NFC Championship game. We're 6-3, going into a bye week, and this is still the youngest team in the NFL. So I'm perfectly okay in terms of a mental headspace. So that's what I've got for the Packers. But I mean, again, Lions keep winning, so good team.
Yeah, I mean, Lions executed when Packers didn't. Some quotes pissed me off. Forgot what part of your team was like the team that won executed better, but the better team like didn't win or whatever. Do you see that clip?
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
It's like no, like.
But I think I will say
the
that
better team did execute in the shitty conditions.
Yeah,
that's what a better team does in that situation. Like again, Lions didn't drop a ball. Packers, I mean, that game is a different story.
The drops were horrible.
The drops were unbelievable. Like obviously, you don't you're not going to blame Love on drops. It was
Also,
a small game.
the pick six I think doesn't happen if Love has a fully healthy groin.
Yeah, but
I think he just gets out of the pocket.
That's where my one critique, it's a game changer. You
Yeah.
can't do that 40 seconds from halftime. It's 10-3. Going into half, even if you don't get points, you just can't make that a 17-3 game. Obviously, Packers outgained them in yards, made that score look a little closer than it was. I also think part of that was obviously, Packers are good offense. When they need points, they're going to be able to move the ball. I also think Lions got really vanilla coming out of halftime. Probably the rest of the game, it's wet. Weren't trying to do anything crazy. Got the job done, won the game. Again, it's in this league, all you got to do is win.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's that. Let's go to the preview now of week 10, right? Yeah, week 10. So week 10 preview. Again, we already mentioned Thursday football. Sunday slate, Giants, Panthers, Germany game. Giants are favored by 6.5. Over under 40.5. Honestly, weirdly enough, I kind of like the over here. I feel like just weirdly, like Giants, Panthers in Germany, like two teams that like are bad, but like also can be good on offense at times. Like I just wouldn't be kind of like shocked if for some reason it's like everybody wakes up, it's like, oh, the Giants and Panthers game like ended like 27-20 Giants. Weird. Like,
yeah, I could see that. I don't know, because I also like last week I bet like Patriots Titans under 38. And like we were like, yeah, that's a gross bet. I'm like, yeah, I know, but like it's when you have to do. I mean, it was 37 points.
Mhm.
Like I don't know though. Germany 8:30. These two teams. This just like it feels like it can't be a good game. I don't think there can be points scored in this. I think this like has to be like
I know, but that's why like I just for some reason I completely just want to go against everything there and just be like,
yeah, I'm gonna disagree with that one. I
no,
think
that's fair. I
would
just
keep it-
that's
just
just
be
a
ugly.
weird like gut feeling that I had.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really care what's the game though. Patriots Bears. Bears got to win this one at home. You're 4-4, hosting the 2-7 Patriots, favored by 6. Just really need Caleb Williams to look good and get a win here.
Yeah, they've also been good at home, so
Mhm.
I think Bears win here.
Bills Colts. Bills by 4. I think they win and cover.
Same.
Broncos and Chiefs. Chiefs are by 8 at home. I can see the Broncos making this kind of
I
interesting.
see. I thought the 9.5 point spread last week against Baltimore was not like that big because I thought Baltimore was that. KC has all year tended to play down to their teams.
Yep.
I think this game's gonna be closer than 7.5. I would take the Broncos here.
I agree. Atlanta and New Orleans. Also, shout out to the Saints. They have the Pope just like praying for them every single week. He keeps using the hashtag Saints on X, Twitter,
And it's like their logo.
He doesn't realize it's the team. So like all the replies are just like football fans like being like, "Thank you, we really need this." Hasn't been working so far, but he continues to tweet with that hashtag. So we'll see if it works out eventually. Falcons are going to be favored by 4 though on the road. Again, it's fair. I think they win. Maybe the Saints can keep it somewhat close. Is the Falcons like rush defense bad or something? Because I saw Kamara was projected for like 21 fantasy points this week.
No,
Backs of the backfield.
I think it's that awful.
I don't know.
It might not
that was weird.
It might not be great, but it also might just be
Like Kamara's been good, like in fantasy, but like he's also been really boosted by like a couple of good games early. This is the first time because I haven't won league. It's the first time in a while he's been projected for 20 plus.
Yeah, I don't
know where that came from, but I don't know. Maybe Kamara's in for a big day, I guess. So, but yeah, I like Atlanta to win, probably cover as well. Niners at Bucks. Niners by 6.5. I could maybe see this game like beat ugly. Like I could maybe see like the Niners like really just getting after it, like first game back with CMC amped up.
Yeah,
Bucks
I
are
agree.
Down.
Bucks are down. Kadon's their only guy who's allowed to catch balls. Apparently,
And Fred Warner will just take that away.
Fred Warner's going to take. Yeah, I could see. I could see that being a pretty big
Um,
side here.
Steelers and Commanders, 2.5 point favorite for the Commanders. I think somebody probably would have shot me in the head if I said this before the season started, but probably would have been a nice game to see in like prime time or at least like the afternoon slate, like America's Game of the Week. Probably would have been kind of a fun game. 6-2 Steelers, 7-2 Commanders. Steelers have been fun with Wilson at quarterback. Jane Daniels is always fun. Should be a good game, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you just simply can't put it in prime time because of the prime time games, which obviously we'll talk about.
I'm just saying like just in general, like you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
you would never think that game would be a good primetime game. But
yeah, I mean, there's
a lot of
6-2,
weeks would've.
7-2.
Yeah.
I think Commanders drop a game. I like the experience here.
He drops it.
I like the Steelers.
Okay. Vikings, Jags. Vikings favored by 7 on the road. I think this could go like 2 very different ways. I think it could be like a Doug Peterson gets fired here game, where like Vikings beat him ugly, or we could see like Jaguars like we're saving his job and they do the unthinkable and win here. I don't really see it in between. I think the Vikings either kick the shit out of them or the Commanders or the Jaguars win.
I'm gonna go Jags win.
Okay.
I thought they came back and played a pretty decent game against Philly, and I'm just gonna keep buying on the. I don't think Minnesota is very good. If that makes all the sense to you or not.
What? Say that again. I got distracted.
I'm saying I'm taking the Jags because I don't think Minnesota is a very good team. They won last week against the Colts. Fine. I'm gonna buy Minnesota has a free fall coming for them, and I'm gonna take the Jags here because they played a decent game against Philly last.
No, I don't think the Vikings are that good. Titans, Chargers favored by 7 at home. I think they absolutely win the game. I think they cover that as well. Over-under is 38.5, which I think there's actually probably a pretty good chance that under hits. I think the Chargers might get up by a couple scores early and then just run the ball out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I agree.
Eagles, Cowboys. It's home game for the Cowboys. Philly's gonna be favored by 7. I think the Cowboys are done. Eagles are starting to roll a little bit. Could be another
I mean, give me 60 minutes, Cooper Rush. I'm going to take the other team in the points. So, give me Philly.
Apparently, though, actually, last time Dak missed significant time, Cooper Rush actually went 3-1. So that's kind of interesting to look back.
Was that last year?
Was it last year? I don't remember.
Might have been. Actually, no, it wasn't. I don't know, but that does make sense. But again, I don't care. I'm just going to still take Philly here.
Jets and Cardinals. Jets going to be favored by 1.5 on the road at the Cardinals. I mean, they're coming off a win, but I mean, I feel like the Cardinals are the better team here.
Yeah, 100%. And they're playing better.
Yeah.
So, I like the Cardinals.
All right, primetime. Lions, Texans. Lions going to be favored by 3.5 on the road. Obviously, this Texans team's got a lot of talent, but they really haven't played very well this year.
No, I also don't think this game is going to be close because indoor, going to be able to pull out, the passes to the left tackle again. The bigger reason why I don't think this game's going to be close is Houston's really struggled in the absence of Nico and Diggs, and Nico has already been declared not playing this week. I think Detroit wins this one. I think 3.5 is too low. I think Detroit wins by 10+.
Get behind it. Finally, Monday night should be an absolute shootout on deck. I think. I mean, Vegas thinks so to a point. Over under 50.5. It's in Los Angeles. Indoors. We got Dolphins at Rams. I think there's gonna be a lot of points scored.
Yeah, this one's gonna be fun.
I think it's gonna be a fun game.
I like the Rams though.
Like the Rams. I'd probably roll with either two. I think the Dolphins probably know that the playoffs are a question. But at the same time, I think they know also that for there to be any chance, they can't drop this game. So they have to win here. I feel like a loss here almost damn near mathematically eliminates them. Like it's gonna be because then you probably one loss.
Yeah, probably does.
Out.
Yeah.
Bye weeks: Browns, Packers, Raiders, Seahawks. I like the bye for the Packers. Good strategic bye. Good place for it. But yeah, that's that. All right. That's the week 10 preview. Bengals Ravens with a 2-minute warning right now. Second and goal for the Ravens at the Cincinnati 5, 28-28. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that game as it goes on. We'll get to a quick comment here before we get into Rock Hard Takes and Kinky Rankings. Comic Menu into the chat for the first time. Is new here. Why are the Longhorns the best? Bold of you to just show up in the chat and come at us with the why are the Longhorns the best? I don't think they're the best.
No, they're not.
I think that they are the 4th best team in the country. I think that Oregon is the best. I think that Georgia is 2. I think Ohio State is 3, and I think that Texas is 4 right now.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah. Why do I think that they aren't the best? Go back and watch the Georgia game again.
Yeah, got killed at home.
Yeah, they can't do that. Do I still think they have a chance to win the national championship? Absolutely. Don't think they're written off by any means. But as of right now, they are not the team that I have the most confidence in to win it. But could see it for sure.
Yep.
We'll see. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, Comic Menu. Good seeing you here. But Longhorns, pick a different team. Don't like them very much here in Nebraska. All right, let's get to Rock Hard Takes.
Bone up, folks. It's time for Rock Hard Takes.
So so good at halftime.
All right. Rock Hard Takes this week is going to be sports broadcasters, like we mentioned earlier. So, again, a little bit of a caveat that we made here. Sportscasters basically that we listen to at least a little bit, or we're like alive for at the very least. So we're not going to pick guys that were dead for years before we were even born.
Yeah.
So
I get
1-1.
I get 1-1. For me, this one's easy. It's kind of stopped trying these past few years, but I still think 1-1's Al Michaels.
Okay. That's who I would have went with too. Al Michaels has been my favorite for a long time. His prime Al Michaels in football, can't beat it.
Yeah.
For my first pick here, I think I'm going to go with a guy who a lot of people would argue is maybe the second best football announcer in his prime for the past 10 years or whatever. But probably even a bigger factor is his versatility to do sports like golf and basketball. Jim Nantz.
He was mine too.
So that's my next one. At the 3 spot, I'm gonna go with a guy who a lot of people didn't like for a long time, but I think a lot of people have come around on him now. And I like him a lot, always have. And again, same thing, versatility to do other sports. He's called a lot of World Series. Very good baseball broadcaster. Joe Buck. So
all right. Come back to me. I'm going to go with the best baseball announcer of all time. Rest in peace, Vin Scully. Voiced the Dodgers for like 70 years. One of them, I bet you some would say he's probably the best ever in terms of broadcasters, but I'm going to have him as my second pick. And then my next one, he's either hated or loved. Like, it's kind of depending on how you feel. I just think whenever you watch a game with the guy, he, like, it feels like a big game when he's there. I'm just going to give it to Gus Johnson.
I've never been the biggest fan of Gus Johnson.
You either love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
You just like it feels like
I maybe fall somewhere in the middle. In terms of I don't hate him. I like him for a big game. Like, he's good in a big game, but it's again the argument I'll always go back to is like when we end up with whatever, like Nebraska and Illinois, like on a big noon game, it's like 2nd and 9 and it's a 2-yard rush and he's like losing his goddamn mind. It's like let's relax.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah. No, I won't harp on that too much, but yeah, he annoys me a little bit from that standpoint. All right. Switching gears here. My next pick, I'll go with Brent Musburger. We were pretty young when he hunted up. I think he retired, I don't know, like 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there probably. Yeah. But I mean, he was the voice of March Madness before Jim Nantz, really. I mean, kind of hand in hand with him, but I mean, he was the main guy for a long time. I think he's very good. So I think trying to cover some bases here. Next pick I'm going to go with, I'll go with Mike Breen. I think that you could argue is the best NBA broadcaster. Has some of the most iconic calls of all time. And again, trying to kind of diversify a little bit here. So I'll go with Mike Breen next.
All right. So what? I got 2 left?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do it. Big voice in college basketball. I'm not always the biggest fan of him, but I understand a lot of people do enjoy listening to him. Dick Vitale. He's just like Gus. I think he's just iconic.
Mm-hmm.
You turn on a game, it's Dick.
Yeah.
And then my last one, very new to the game, but I really enjoy listening to him. And obviously he's paired with Gus, but I think Joel Klatt's awesome. Like, I really enjoy, listening to him call a game. I think he's very informative, and just he's also like not afraid one bit to like share what he thinks rather than just like the typical if he doesn't like a call, he's gonna let you know he doesn't like a call. So I really like Joel.
Okay. Final pick here. I'm gonna go with a guy who's been around forever, but always feels like he's like just always that second guy. Has never really been like the lead guy for a network, it feels like. Except for the one spot that he is, I believe, is in actually the radio side of things with Westwood One. Kevin Harlan. Does it really well in a lot of sports.
Iconic voice.
He's an iconic voice. You'll know it. You know it's him as soon as you hear it. Big time player in terms of like March Madness, college basketball. You know him well from there. A lot of people do. I think he does a great job in the NFL as well. And then again, for those who aren't familiar, Westwood One does a lot of the big time sports on the radio, and he is like the lead, like the guy for that radio side of things. So sometimes I think they're actually on games where it's like he probably be like the TV guy, like actually ends up being the radio. Like I think he does like radio, like probably like Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, stuff like that. So yeah, Kevin Harlan. I think it's a good pick there.
I think it's a great last pick.
Yeah. I try to go more play-by-play guys. I know you took. I think you took all play-by-play guys except for Klatt at the end.
Yeah.
Other like actual commentators. I mean, I like Aikman too. Like I think just him and Buck work really well together.
Yep.
I think they've always been good. One guy I think that's like a notable omission, or two guys really. They were in a booth together forever. Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Yep.
Worked together for years, but
John Madden. For them. Yeah, John Madden would have been on my list, but we are so talked about it. Just too young. Harry Carey brought Cubs baseball to life, even though they were awful. So yeah, I mean those were some of the guys, but again, we were too young for that.
Yeah. All right, we'll do it for today's Rock Hard Takes. That being said, let's get to the segment, Kinky Rankings.
In a world of politics, war, bad beats, and watching your favorite sports teams come up short, sometimes you just need to hear a guy rank random shit. Enter your hero, Colin Kelly, here today for another edition of Kelly's Kinky Rankings.
All right, running backs that are cool, plain and simple.
Running backs or fullbacks? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, fullbacks. All right, top it off. Number 5, Lorenzo Neal. This is probably one of the top 3 of like actual all time, but he's a chunker. Ravens big dog, Chargers big dog. He's a little tubby. I like fullbacks that are like really chunky.
Yeah,
chunky and beefy. But he was kind of I wouldn't say like a touchdown goblin, but he was good.
Okay.
Yeah. Put him there. Number 4, go in the fridge. I'm gonna be a little biased. He played one slot.
I was gonna say, can we really count this as a fullback?
I can because he was technically listed as a fullback for that play, so I'm gonna toss him in there. Yeah, I'm biased. I think he still holds the record for heaviest player to score a touchdown, unless they beat that.
Probably an offensive at least.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been like a scoop and score by some big fat D tackle.
Who's that fat fuck that was on the Packers?
BJ Raji.
Yeah, when he got that.
Yeah, he had that score. That
was on my Bears.
If Vince Wilfork ever scored, I mean, he was fucking huge.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
put Fridge just because I'm biased.
All right. Number 3.
Mike Tolbert. This is my personal favorite fullback of all time. He his prime was 2016 with him and Cam Newton. They would go band for band with little silly dances. So
was he technically a fullback or was he running back?
He was a
running back, wasn't he?
He was a fullback.
I think he was a running back.
He was a fullback.
I'm gonna fact check this.
I feel like he was a fullback. He was a running back.
I think he was just a fat running back.
What about that year when they got what was his fucking name? Who's the one that started that year at the Super Bowl? What was his name? He was good. He was good for like 2 years and then he fell off. Yeah. Because they feel like they put Tolbert at fullback that year. No, unless they ran it too. Oh, really?
All right, I'm getting mixed results here. Some say fullback, some say running back. So Wikipedia says fullback, Pro Football Reference says running back, and then the little top thing on Google says running back and fullback.
Yeah, maybe sometimes they put him to. He could have been a big body blocker
or halfback.
Yeah, we could just say back. We could settle at that.
Yeah, back.
He's somewhere in the backfield, just fucking being a meatball
back there, just being fat,
being a little silly dance ball. Yeah. All right, 3. All right, 2. What are we doing? Kyle.
Why couldn't you put his last name? You just wanted to call him Kyle.
He's a funny. Kyle.
Or is it because you can't pronounce Juszczyk?
Juszczyk.
It's definitely because you can pronounce Juszczyk.
Yeah, it's a silly name.
Yeah. Dog though, for sure.
Kyle is awesome. He bailed me out of a bet this year, so he makes the coolest. Yeah, he's probably the only the only fullback just still remaining that's somewhat relevant for the most part.
Does Patrick Ricard still have like a significant role with the Ravens? He did for a long time. Does anybody know top of their head? Not really.
Yeah, so I think now it's just Kyle's the only one. I feel like
you're right.
Yeah, he's the Lone Ranger. That'd be a fucking good nickname for Kyle, the Lone Ranger.
Maybe you can get it going.
Fuck, I'll hammer it. All right, number 1, we're going big dog Kyle Nevers.
Who the hell is this?
Fucking cool name, dude. His name is Kyle Nevers. Back-to-back Kyles. His nickname was Big Dog.
Yeah, I don't know who this is. So
Yeah, he was a dual sport athlete, played in the MLB and NFL. I'm guessing before like 1940 though.
yeah,
Yeah.
back when they probably only allowed one race in both leagues.
Hence the reason why he played in both.
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know what team he played for, but I knew he played in the NFL and MLB. His name is fucking Big Dog.
All right. Well,
I
don't know who
could've-
the hell Big Dog is, but
I
it
could have
sounds
put
pretty
Jim
cool.
Brown, but
Also a running back.
no, he's listed as a fullback for
He's probably listed as like a tailback.
yeah.
That's- Okay. All right. Weezy, Mr. Off Mike. Bad guy.
He's dead, man. All right.
Not a bad rankings, Kelly. I like a lot of them.
I like Big Dog.
I like you kind of going on the technicality with the fridge. Nice move.
Yeah.
I don't know who else would have been. I don't know.
Big Dog's
Weezy,
pretty
can you
cool.
think of Any fullbacks? So, okay. All right.
It's kind of tough, man. The list isn't.
Played in Michigan.
I mean, if you're gonna put Mike Tolbert on there, you could just put Eddie Lacy too. Just fat running back.
I thought Mike Tolbert was a fucking fullback, though. I thought this was for the longest
whatever.
time.
Same shit.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
It's
Decent.
all right. It's all right.
Yeah. All right. Pass the mics back. Get me and Weez back on the mics here. Kind of pointless though, because we're basically done. Yeah. So thanks for tuning into another edition of Rock Hard Ball. We appreciate you guys all hanging out. Make sure you check out the social at Rock Hard Ball or at Rock Hard Ball Pod on every single social media platform. Bengals inside the 10-yard line here. Final play. We'll see what happens at the end of this game.
Mark Chase has like 50 fantasy points, by the way.
He has 50.
Yeah. These 2 touchdowns for like 200.
He is like 250 yards.
Oh, wow.
receiving.
Okay. Well, congrats to all you Jamar Chase fantasy owners. We're probably not going to hang around for the end of this one because 50 seconds in an NFL game could be like 10 or 15 minutes. So we'll let y'all go. But again, thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, we won't be here on Monday, unfortunately. Again, we got prior commitments that we had to be at. But we will be back next Thursday to bring you another episode. So until then, we will see you later.